Ronaldo was such a good character, and like he'd look in the mirror and tell himself he's beautiful, and so then there's me, like,
That's not you, is
like
it?
a complete opposite. Didn't have his looks, Scouser telling him he's ugly.
England had come runners-up to France in Group B, and they'd stay in Lisbon to play the host Portugal in the quarter-finals of Euro 2004. At this point, Wayne Rooney was the player of the tournament, scoring 4 goals in 3 games and playing some thrilling football. Anything seemed possible, and back home, it was Rooney mania. Wayne, not tempered by the fact that your manager, Sven-Göran Eriksson, started to make comparisons between yourself and Pelé at this point in terms of the impact that you'd had in the tournament. And I mean, it wasn't misplaced, was it, the point that he was trying to make?
Yeah, no, I remember Sven said that, and yeah, obviously I was, as a young player, I was having an impact on the tournament, and that was actually the song which the Everton fans started singing to me about being the white Pelé, and that carried on obviously through Manchester United as well. So yeah, Sven, it's put a little bit of pressure on, yeah.
I think you'd have gone for his shirt, wouldn't you? You'd have taken Pelé's shirt. You'd have asked Pelé, surely.
Yeah, Maradona.
What? Come on, talk to me about Maradona then. So, right in episode 1, this is where number 10 comes from. So, what was it? What made him so special?
I just think he was crazy. I think I just loved the way he played, and you know, the control he had, and obviously the pitches back then weren't great, and the balls weren't obviously great as well. But just the control and the story of him, and how he was at Barcelona, then going to Napoli, and you know, winning the title with Napoli, and you could see Maradona played on the edge, lived on the edge, and I loved that about him. So yeah, I've met him a few times.
Have you?
Yeah, I met him a few times, and one time we played Real Madrid at Old Trafford, and I was sub, so I was fuming. We got knocked out in the quarterfinals. It was. So after I went to a restaurant with my family, and Maradona was in there. So I was still in my club tracksuit. Went in to get some food before we went home, and he come up to me, and when we were talking about swapping shirts, he gave me his tie.
Did he?
Which was weird, yeah. So he had a full suit on and tie, so he took his tie off and put it around me and done the tie and gave me his tie, yeah. So I've still got Maradona's tie.
I hope it's somewhere special.
Yeah.
Please don't tell me it's
no,
wrong.
obviously I've still got it, yeah. So it was strange, but great. And then I met him a few times after, and sadly we've obviously lost him now, but he's a great fella.
Did you give him anything back? No?
And I had nothing to give him.
He just gave it you?
I had nothing to give him, yeah. But yeah, you know, he gave me his tie, and then obviously done a picture with him and stuff. But I think that type of player I've always liked, obviously with Maradona the way he was, but the South Americans where they've got that little bite in them, fighting, desire. I think that's why I love playing with Tevez as well. And yeah, I love that character.
Yeah, that spice.
That was
competitiveness.
That's what stuck out to me. Yeah. So that's why I'd probably say Maradona over Pelé, for that reason.
So when you walked in the restaurant and he was there, was that the first time you'd met him?
No, I'd met him before that.
Were you starstruck when you first saw him? Because I'm going through this podcast series with you, and you take everything in stride, and we've worked that out. That nothing phases you. Was when you first met him, was that there's Maradona?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And then I got a picture with him. So as you've seen, there's very few people. There's probably another one I love is Denzel Washington. It's probably them two, probably the only two.
Did you ask him?
Yeah, I asked him, yeah.
You didn't wait for him to ask you? No, not like the shirts before.
With Maradona, I'd have to ask him.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So he would be your ultimate.
Yeah, as a player, yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously now in this era, you've got Messi and Ronaldo. You know, there'll be debates over who's the best of all time. I think from a player-wise, probably Messi, just ahead of Cristiano. But Maradona was just everything he had was special.
Let's have a look at this game then, and I want to touch on Cristiano a little bit later too. But this was a Portugal team that had Figo, Carvalho, Deco, Cristiano, and of course this was a large part of this Portugal team was the Porto side that had just won the Champions League under Jose Mourinho as well. So a lot of those players came into the tournament with a great deal of confidence from the club aspect of the season, and they got the whole country behind them as well. I mean, this was, I take your point when you said we would have chosen Greece, even though they went on to win the tournament, but this was the marquee matchup. This was the game that everybody wanted to see, I think.
Yeah, I think it was obviously, again, we knew it'd be a tough game, and preparations for it were good. We were ready for the game, and they had good players, we had good players. We knew it was going to be a close game, but we felt we had enough to win the game, and obviously it wasn't to be in the end, but yeah, we were ready for anyone really at that point. Just
on them, and it's hard not to talk about Portugal without talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, but this was Figo's tournament. He'd been around for so long, this was the last one for him, and everything was centred on, can they win it for Figo? This wasn't about Cristiano yet, was it? Because he was still young himself. This was Figo's Portugal.
Yeah, but I think you were feeling
the sway.
Yeah, you could feel that change as well, and but yeah, to play against Figo, I've done TV with Figo in India. He's a great fella. He's crazy as well. But then to come up against some of these legends, you've grown up. Again, we talked about Zidane before, but now you come up against Figo, who's Barcelona, Real Madrid, everything he'd done. So, and then you've got Cristiano, who I think he just had his first year in the Premier League that year. And
what did you make of him at this point? Because this was at the time when he was being criticised for too many tricks, and was he going to develop? And there's a lot of questions about him. At this point.
I think you could see he was going to be You could see he was going to be a top player, and he was always a threat. So we know he was going to have an impact on the game at some point, and Ashley done really well against him actually in that game. But you always knew that he was at that time quite unpredictable. So, and sometimes that's a very dangerous player to come up against who is unpredictable.
You'd smashed him that year as well at Goodison, hadn't you? On the touchline. At
Old Trafford.
At Old Trafford, Cristiano. Yeah.
Yeah, he was he was playing against Tony Ibben, and he'd done a few tricks, and then he got a free kick and he took it and he smashed it at Tony Ibben in the head. Tony Ibben was in a one-man wall and I hit him straight in the head. And I was half laughing on the pitch, but then he's running down the wing and I'm coming back to help Ibo out. And I knew I was going to smash him, so it took him probably a red card, should have been. So
he knew who you were?
Yeah, of course. I think we both knew who we were, and whether or not at the time we knew we were going to be teammates in the summer, probably not, but obviously a great respect. I think what was good, we had the young lad at Switzerland, I can't think of his name, you had myself, you had Cristiano, so there was a few teenagers in the tournament which was, it's always great, and I used to like, more so with Cristiano, we're both young players coming in and being big part of your country in a major tournament, so it was nice that there was other young players there as well.
What was the relationship like between you two? Because I can imagine that if you're in the same changing room, you both want to be the alpha. That's just in your, that's just in your character.
No, I think we had a really good relationship.
Really? Yeah?
Yeah, really good. Yeah. We were the complete opposite.
Right.
So it was funny. Ronaldo was such a good character, and some of the stuff he used to do, like laughing and messing around, a bit like what Zlatan does, but like he'd look in the mirror and tell himself he's beautiful, and so then there's me. Like,
that's not you,
like a complete opposite. Like didn't have his look, scouser, telling him he's ugly. Stuff saying, no, you're not. Messing around, but that used to wind him up. So we always, the two of us were playing pranks on the manager, and I'd pick him up at times, take him into training or take him into the hotel, and as a really, really good relationship. Yeah, I think people now have taken a bit out of proportion when I say Messi's better, because in my opinion he is, but I completely understand anyone who says Cristiano's better. I've always said that them two, what the two of them have done is incredible, and I like Messi because, as I said before, Maradona, the way he played, more of a flair player. Cristiano was more devastating in terms of goal scored, and that's what he turned into. So, and then you get people saying, "Oh, he doesn't like Cristiano." I love Cristiano. What he's done is incredible. For football, and his numbers is through the roof and incredible. So yeah, we had a fantastic relationship.
And the wink, when you were sent off, am I right in saying that was nothing to do with that? That was the bench checking that he was okay and that he got to calm himself down?
I doubt that. It probably was.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah, no chance. He's from his point of view, but I didn't have a problem at all with that. No. I was trying to get him booked for diving in the first half. If I could get him sent off, 100%, I'll get him sent off.
All's fair in love and war.
Yeah, it makes it easier for us to win the game. So when we played England-Portugal, he was my complete rival. I didn't want him to win, didn't want him to do well, wanted him to lose the game, and vice versa. I was the same for him, and that's the mentality you need. I remember playing against Giggsy for Wales when we were both at United, and I smashed Giggsy. He's not my teammate for that time, and so yeah, I had no issue. And obviously it gets made into a big thing and whatever, but I think if that is the other way around, I would have done the exact same.
That's almost the boxer's mentality, isn't it? 12 rounds, shake hands.
Yeah, of course.
We're all okay.
And I knew that after they'd gone and make a big thing, I knew that at that time I started to figure out how the press would work, and it was either I was going to get what Beck's got in 98, or they were going to go for me and Cristiano for that. And I knew that was where it was going to go, and I spoke to him in the tunnel. And I said that to him, spoke to Alex Ferguson after the game, just to reassure him, listen, this stuff was getting written, I'm fine, no problem. Wished him good luck for the rest of the tournament. So that was it. It was the end of it.
It's good to know that it finished like that. I think that's great insight into the mentality of a winner, that it's all about the 90 minutes, it's all about the lines, and when you get back over the other side, life moves on. Yeah. I think it's fascinating to hear that. Let's have a look at the game then, because we've just talked about the players that they've got. This is now your first knockout game in an England shirt, so that's a new experience for you.
Yeah, I was really excited, ready. We started the game really well. Obviously, Michael Owen scores a great goal. And I was buzzing because where Michael was in his level, obviously before I come in, it was Michael Owen, and now all of a sudden it was me and Michael, and then I was scoring in the tournament and he hadn't. And I knew for us to win it, we both had to be. Michael gets a lot of confidence to score, and he wants to score every game, and so I was so pleased when he scored in that game. Obviously it was the biggest game of the tournament for us. He gets the goal, really good goal as well, and so I was like buzzing at that moment, and in that game we felt comfortable, and then obviously I get the injury, but for how we started the game and also how the lads finished it when I went off, we should have won the game, and again, a bit of bad luck and we're out.
Let's talk about the moment then. You're chasing a through ball, you've got George Andrade, the Portugal centre-back, with you, and he's kind of leaning on you, and it all gets a bit awkward. I was in the stadium commentating on the match, and it looked relatively innocuous. Yeah. To the naked eye, you would just expect you just jump back up again. Did you know straight away that it was something serious?
I heard the crack. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I heard the crack, and I was devastated. And knew straight away that I broke something in my foot. So I was hoping it was more the middle one, because it was the middle one I might have been able to try and get through the game. And then carried on, tried to play on a little bit, and it was impossible really, and it was my 5th Met, which is the worst one you can do. Was that all your balance, everything, it's impossible if you do your 5th one. So went off, took my boot off, realised it was the 5th one, and put my boot back on, tried to do a few runs up line and stuff, and then went back on. I couldn't get through it. It was impossible, so I was devastated.
Was the mindset at that point, I have to get back on, I can't come off, even though it feels like it, I've got to try?
Yeah, and I've played through so many different injuries, and you know, I've played through tears in my calf, tears in my groin, hamstrings, everything got through. Just with that one, I couldn't get through it. So I was devastated, and that was it. Tournament over. Devastated.
I don't think I've ever been in a stadium, certainly watching an England game, but maybe watching any game, where I felt like I felt at that moment. Because you were 1 up, we were 1 up, and with a better team, and this was our tournament. And then when you went down and went off, I don't think I've ever felt like that. Could you feel that in the stadium? I don't know what you were feeling at that point. You were probably concentrating on getting through it emotionally, but did you get that sense as well? Because it was, I thought it was tangible. You could almost feel it around the arena.
To be honest, I can't say what the surroundings like. It was just, I was just, like, in my head I was devastated, and I knew I wouldn't be able to continue, and my tournament was over. And remember when I went back on, couldn't get through it, and then walking off the pitch, and I don't think I've ever cried on a football pitch. I'm not sure I would, but that was probably the closest of being to. And walking down a tunnel, went straight into an ambulance, it was gone. So when he went to the stadium, it was like surreal really, and I was on the pitch, and then 20 minutes later I'm getting wheeled to a hospital in Portugal in my England kit still.
Wow.
So it was like surreal feeling, and like just devastated, and yet knowing the tournament was over for me, and just hoping that the lads could pull through it.
Are you then trying to stay in touch with what's happening? Have you got people with you?
Yeah, before, so I had the physio with me, and then I done an X-ray, then they put me in this cast. It was the worst cast I've ever been put in. And so they put me in this cast, and I'm still in the wheelchair, and then
still in your kit.
Still, yeah. I went to my kit, so I had nothing else. So I'm in a Portuguese hospital. Obviously, we're playing Portugal, and there's like this old TV in the corner with the game on. So I'm watching the game. By this time, it's gone to penalties, and I'm watching it, and it was horrible. Because when they scored, they're all cheering, all the hospital staff and wherever, I'm sitting there watching, and then the camera zoomed in on Darius Vassell when he was about to walk up, and I knew we were done.
Did you?
Yeah, I could see the fear in his face. Darius is a really nice guy, and we practiced penalties the day before, and I don't think he took one good one, and the pitch, practicing the day before, kept sliding underneath the players and stuff, and when the cam went on him and he was walking up to get the ball, I knew he was going to miss. And then that was it, we were out. I went back to the hotel and met the players there.
I can't imagine what that feeling must be like. That you've just had your foot plastered, you've broken your foot, and you know that this fella's going to miss. I can't imagine the feeling of
Darius didn't want to take a penalty.
No,
so
he didn't want one. No.
He didn't want to take a penalty, and even the way he takes the penalty, you see, I think he kicks the floor first, or he doesn't hit it right, and it was exactly the same the day before in training. So you're hoping the keeper dives the wrong way and it trickles in, because you could see it if you go back and watch it, you can see his eyes are like, you just know he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to take that penalty, and he misses. Then I go back to the hotel, and all the players come in, and devastating, and then when I said before, then it got embarrassing. because they had a big screen. They had Sky Sports on, I think it was Sky Sports, and they're getting all fan reactions. Then all of a sudden my uncle pops up.
Oh no.
And he's passed away now, God rest him, but he's so the whole team are in there, families are in there. My uncle pops up, starts saying David Beckham, Michael Owen didn't turn off the tournament and stuff like. No. And I'm sat there with his foot up thinking, oh Jesus.
And do they know it's your uncle?
Yeah, it says.
No.
So I was like, Jesus Christ.
No.
So embarrassed.
Oh, that's a ground swallow me up moment.
Yeah, and then
no.
and then the families over, the players' wives or girlfriends and kids were there, and everyone had a few drinks, and gutted, devastated, and we're getting ready to fly home. All of a sudden you're packing your bags on the flight home.
That night?
The next morning.
To go the next morning?
Next morning, yeah. So it was really quick, and you're gone. Then all of a sudden I'm getting a phone call the next day from Everton because they need money for me, so they're getting bids, so I'm like, I need to go on holiday, so I think the next day I went to Barbados, and from there everything just went. But yeah, from getting knocked out and leaving the hospital to going home, just all happened so quick. That
must be one of the most astonishing, I don't know how many hours it would be, but for that period of time.
Yeah, it was
the change of emotions and everything that's happening, and all of the sliding doors moments that come from it.
I turn my phone off. Like if I go on holiday, now it's different because managing needs to be ready for players or staff, whatever that is. But when I was a player, I'd go on holiday and would clean whatever, or would clean the kids. And I turn my phone off, so I can have my phone off the whole time. I'd like just to get away from everything, and got away for a little bit, come back, and then it was Man United in, Newcastle in, Real Madrid in, whatever, and I've got a broken foot. Then I was meant to start running, but everyone wouldn't let me run in case I injured it, so they don't get the money. So there was a big, again, it starts on the whirlwind of madness. So that actual time away was nice to reflect on the tournament, but on what's happened, but also think about my future.
That kind of takes you back to the summer of 1990 when Paul Gascoigne gets off the plane and Gary Lineker said to him, be careful, because he knew what was coming. His life changed at that point. Was that the moment that your life became completely different to anything you'd ever experienced?
Yeah, I think for teams who were interested in me, it probably didn't help because they had to pay a bit more money because of the tournament. But yeah, it was a strange one. I remember my agent Paul said to me, you need security to go away, and I was like, don't need security. So me and Clean went to Barbados with the security guy. I hated it. So in the end, we go to a restaurant, and he was sat the other side of the restaurant. So in the end, he ended up eating with us every night. I said, no, I couldn't. I think the two of us are that type of person. We were like, we can't have him just sat there.
People must have thought you were in a throuple at that point.
So he's eating with us every night, and he's going, no, I'm saying, no, come on. So in the end, it ends up just being a third person with us on holiday. And then I've never done it again since. No. But we didn't know what the reaction was going to be, and so yeah. But it was strange going out. And I remember Nancy, Sven's ex. She come up and was asking like, what did I injure? I'm sat there with a cast on like that. I'm like, well, there you go,
before Nancy, yeah.
But yeah, it was strange, surreal, but loved every minute of it.
Did you just think at that point, we'll win one? Because you'd been so close in terms of the way you'd played, the momentum you'd built. You just think automatically, after 04, we'll win one of these?
I thought we had a good enough team.
Yeah.
And I think some players mightn't say it, but I think that team is judged a little bit unfairly as well, because I think in Euro 2004 and in the World Cup 2006, you're one penalty away from semi-finals, and then anything can happen. You might go on and win it. I think in Euro 2004, I think there was a real expectation on, once the tournament started, and a real belief that we'd go and win it, and I believe if I stayed fit, I believe we would have.
You do?
Yeah. I think at that time, unless something happened, what happened, stopped me. I think every team feared me, and I could feel that, and I was in a place where I felt like I'd go and win this tournament.
Did you ever get back to that place in your mind?
Probably not at tournament level, no. For England, tournaments for one way or another didn't work out for me. With England, but at club level, I felt as we had a period as a team and me as an individual where we were at a very high level.
Do you look back on Euro 2004 with fondness, pride, regret, disappointment? When you kind of look back on that tournament, what are your
probably
emotions?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything you said, probably all of that, because not so much regret, but you're looking back, thinking, if I'd stayed fit, what would have happened? Then so many great memories in games around the hotel. As I said, we've got everything filmed, and you watch it back and it brings back memories of players and staff in the hotel and dressing room. And we've got team talks in there. We've got everything in there, which is great to watch. So real great memories, but yeah, ultimately looking back, disappointment.
We know at the moment that Sven-Göran Eriksson is very ill, and I'm sure at this stage you'd like to send a message to him and his family at this point because of the relationship that you have with him and the fondness that you have for him. Yeah,
it's really sad. I'd done a piece for Sven's documentary when I was out in the States, and I was informed then that he wasn't too well, and the news got quite recently, and it's heartbreaking. Sven's someone who I admire a lot. He showed a lot of trust in me as a young boy. Sad, and for such a legend of the game, and you can sit here and talk all day about his achievements, but I think as a person, as a human being, what he's going through now is very sad, and I hope he's enjoying time with his family, and my prayers are with him. Gutted, but I know he's a fighter as well, and I know he will enjoy this time, and I'm sure he'll reflect on his life and look back at moments in football, in his private life, where he can look back with no regrets, because he's a fantastic person.
Yeah, lovely words. And we're about to head into another tournament, and we're all sat here thinking, is this going to be the first time since 1966? Give us your assessment of Gareth and the squad's chances this time, because we're all hopeful again, aren't we? We've all allowed ourselves to
I think we're probably
again.
Back at Euro 2004 with the anticipation, the expectation is on England really now to, can they go and win this tournament? And after the previous two tournaments where they've done really well, I think the only difference is there's so many young players. I think that could be key to how well England do. There's a lot of inexperience in the squad, which will either go one way or the other. It'll help them massively, or it could cost them in the later stages. But I'm really excited. I think England is certainly one of the favourites, and this could be the opportunity for Gareth, whatever he does at the end of this tournament, to say goodbye on a very high note.
Fingers tightly crossed.
Yeah, I hope so, and exciting, and I'll be there obviously for part of the tournament, and hopefully we see England lift the trophy for the first time in a long time.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, a privilege to sit down and talk about all of this with you. Thanks so much for your time today. I'm going to ask you one more question just to wrap it all up. If I said to you, look back on your England career and sum it all up for me, what would you say?
Pride. I think it's growing up as a young kid in Croxted, with dreams of playing for Everton. Then probably not even dreaming about playing for England because you're just thinking about playing for your club, and then obviously looking at England thinking, wow, I could actually go and play for England, and to do that so young and to play for England so many times and get the record which stood for so many years with Bobby Charlton. I've always said to play for England once is such a proud moment, so to do it 120 times and score the goals I've scored and be part of tournaments. Yeah, we didn't win anything, but it went through lack of trying, so look back with a huge amount of pride.
Brilliant.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, pal.
No problem.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you.